What is going on, everybody? I'm back with another video. So today we're going to be talking about the Benchmade 560 Freek. Very awesome radical design and serves to be a perfect replacement for the Benchmade Griptilian. I thought the Griptilian was a funny name at first, but I don't know why they named this the Freek, but whatever. Anyways, today I'm going to be filming in my workshop, so it might be a little echoey since I'm in the garage, but let's go and start with a bit of a size comparison. So right off the bat, let's go and pull out a couple older knives I haven't really pulled out in a while. We got the Unumzan by CRK and also the Sebenza Large. So, you know, you're pretty comparable in size. Definitely not a small knife for EDC, in my opinion. And for my own purposes, I'm getting away from the excuse me, I'm getting away from the larger knives. So, but you can tell it's again a pretty large knife. The one knife I do, however, want to compare this to is the Booker Caracal, which very surprisingly has about the same blade shape. Very interesting. Same kind of ramp, same kind of upswept edge. So if you guys want the same blade shape, you know, either one is going to have about the same. I will say right off the bat before I get into the main review is that the Booker, or I'm sorry, not the Booker, the Benchmade is a much better slicer. All right, so let's go and begin. So right off the bat, let's go and talk about the current, or a really quick overview. We got about a 3.6-inch blade, S30V steel. We got a very texturized rubbery handle, rubbery handle with a nice little plastic insert here. And so it gives it a nice kind of two-tone effect. A reversible pocket clip, tip-up carry, semi-generous lanyard hole. Here's your standard pocket clip, and of course the little plasticky bit is supposed to probably aid in clipping this on and off your pockets. And you got your access lock. So there you go. That's essentially the 560 Freek in a nutshell. Alright, so let's go and talk about how this knife was to live with. I've been carrying this knife for about a month and a half or so. I picked it up from REI on sale, and I've always loved the Griptilian series, but I feel like the Freek looks a lot better. You know, I gotta stop calling it the Freek. The 560 looks a lot better, and in certain ways is a lot easier to use, and I think more friendly to the average user. So let's go and start on the blade. And again, if you guys have noticed, this is a very high polish here. Not a high polish, but you know, more or less a high polish. Not a true mirror yet. Because I've been using it for a month and a half, I scratched the crap out of it, and of course that's why I'm at my workshop. And I had this, I manually took out most of the scratches with some sandpaper. There's still a bit left in there, as you can tell, but it is, for the most part, almost all gone. Blade is nice and smooth now. There I am. Hi. So blade is nice and smooth now, and it just glides through everything I put it through. So the blade, again, it's S30V. You got dual thumb studs on there, and they're very well stepped, pretty standard for Benchmade stuff. Pretty easy to get to, you know, to open manually or whatnot. So you got the Benchmade butterfly, which I pretty much grounded off, and then on the other side you got the S30V marking. Oh, by the way, I want to say that S30V is exceedingly difficult to bring to a mirror finish, especially if you're doing it all manually. All right, I mean, compared to like CR13 MOB, which you can pretty much bring to a decent mirror finish in about half an hour. I spent about 4 hours on this bad boy, and you know, it's still not even there, not even close. So just a word of caution, guys. I mean, if you guys have a lot of time on your hands, or you have no life, or you just want to give yourself repetitive stress syndrome, this is a good project to do. So again, this is a very awesome slicer. I put this thing through a ton of cardboard, food prep. I mean, it just kept going. The S30V edge retention is really good. Of course, because of my rudimentary sharpening skills, I just touched it up along the way after, you know, every single time I used it. And it is phenomenal. Love this knife. Excellent slicer. Not too thick behind the edge. Very high flat ground. Aids in the cutting ability. And of course, after I polished it, it cuts even better now. So very, very awesome. Love this thing. Access lock, of course, is easy to use, very smooth, and again, just very nice for an average user. You know, a lot of friends and people I know that I talk to really hate that liner lock. Where do I have a liner lock? Here's a liner lock. or they really hate doing this bit where they have to get their finger in the way of the blade swing close. That makes them nervous, and I get that because I was kind of nervous when I first started using knives and everything. So a lot of them, they do this little deal with two hands, you know, whatever, right? With the access lock, not so. You get your fingers completely out of the way, and then you can just shut the knife. So very easy to do. So let's go on to this awesome handle. Number one, the handle is extremely ergonomic. All right, very, very much so. Because of the rubbery, grippy texture, it serves to hold your hands in completely. I mean, it is one of the most comfortable knives I've ever held, you know, seriously. And it's a little bit soft to the touch as well. So again, very comfortable. Wet hands, dry hands, gloves, whatever. This knife is going to stay in your hands no matter what. And at first, I thought that this little plasticky bit here would be slippery. It is a little slippery, but there's enough of the rubber handle that it's not going anywhere. Now, with that being said, that brings me to one of the most major cons about this knife, which is the rubbery handle. So for those of you who like to clip your knife to your pocket, this one is a struggle to get in and out of clip in and out of the pocket just because of the rubbery handle. Now, yes, this little plasticky bit does help, but it doesn't help a lot because this is all rubbery. This all around is all rubbery. Everything is rubbery except for this little bit right here. So if you like to struggle clipping your knives in and out of your pockets, then hey, this one's for you. But if you're like me, who get really, really annoyed by trying to work at, you know, sweating over getting your pocket, getting it clipped on, don't bother. You're better much served with just taking the pocket clip off, either throwing a lanyard on it or not, and just throw it in your pocket. Because it's so rubbery, it's never going to fall out of your pocket. Really, it catches on everything. It is so annoying. So that is seriously my only one con about this knife. Everything else is pretty much just dead on perfect, you know. I mean, there's really nothing much to say about this knife. It's a proven design, and I just love it. It's just so awesome. So if y'all want to be nitpicky about it, the handles, remember I was talking about the caracal with the giant cutout that, you know, you can like, oh, I'm gonna get 2 fingers in here, 3 fingers, 3.5, 2.5, whatever. Same kind of deal goes on for the 560. Whereas when you go to grip on it, you look at this. Okay, I mean, I can't get 2 fingers in here, but if I get 1 finger in here, then I'm holding it way too far back, you know, and then, you know, my thumb has a little bit of an issue reaching. I got medium-sized hands. Okay, so that's about it. So when I grab this knife, I do have to, you know, I grab it and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to adjust my grip. You know, whereas you get like any other knife out here, you get like this, you know, you either get like a very smooth flat surface here where you can just, you know, grab it and you feel comfortable with it, or you get something that has, you know, kind of almost a slight dedicated choil. You know, you grab onto it and you're just perfectly fine with it. So not this one, same thing, you know, grab it, adjust my grip, and then, you know, whatever. So, but for the most part, once you get used to it, not that big of a deal. But it's not something I'd point out. Again, very, very nitpicky of me, but I had to point it out. Thumb ramp, very good. A+ for me. This is something that is severely lacking from the Griptilian series. It was a nice, tiny little thumb ramp. The jimping on here is pretty darn good. I mean, it's not slippery, but it's not very good either. And the jimping back here, of course, is just recessed. There's really no point to having it, but this is very good. Love it. But, you know, I feel like on this knife, even without the thumb ramp, you'd be fine. Because of the rubbery handles, you're not going to slip up on this knife. There's like no freaking way you're going to slip up on this knife unless you're, I don't know, doing something completely stupid with it. Let's put it that way. So all in all, this is an excellent user, and I think that the accessibility of this, you know, being as it's not extremely tactical, very usable blade shape, perfect, excellent for food prep because of the high flat ground, slicing through cardboard, just everyday general task. This is it right here. I mean, this is pretty much the ultimate everyday carry knife, in my opinion. I mean, there's nothing flashy about it. It is just so normal. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it's very normal, and you don't look overly tactical with it. You know, you don't have to look overly futuristic, you know, like the Boker Federal down here, or stylistic like the Whisper, right? So this is the perfect knife for the normal carry. So there you have it. All right, well, that is my review of the Benchmade 560 Freek. I wish they changed the name on that, but whatever. If you guys got any questions or comments, please leave it below. Aside from that, shoot me a personal message. Take care, have a nice day, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.